Hello, so we're back in After Effects. My name's Amelia. So I'm not going to show so much of the workspace setup and project setup. If you want to see all of that, go into the previous video of the parallax. But I am going to take keyframing a step further and look at that character walk cycle. So I'm going to file, import, and import the walk cycle file that I have. And remember to change it to composition, retain layer sizes. Okay, and I also have this big library of random things I've animated, and I've got a butterfly GIF that I'm just going to add as well to this walk cycle. So, new composition, double click that to open all my layers, and this time we've got a pre-nested layer or composition within this composition. Now this has happened because I grouped the character within the Photoshop project. So I can double click the character to be taken into its own composition with all the layers that I can now animate separately. So a few things, housekeeping things to do before we start. I'm going to start with that parent and link system. So like yesterday, just going to make objects follow other objects. However, this time we've got more of a hierarchy going on. So firstly, just simply again, front arm to body. My front arm, I can drop this menu down and pick body. However, we've got a foot, leg, and a body, and actually I want the foot to follow the leg and the leg to follow the body. So you do think about how sort of, especially parts of a person follow within a hierarchical system. So foot, and this time actually I'm going to pick up the pick whip, which is also my parenting tool, which is an upside down snail, which allows me to just drag and quickly and visually pair and link up all these layers. So I'm just going to go along and do all of that. Cage hoops. Oops. Hoops. I know that's the longest stick. And then stick to body. Oops, that did not happen. There we go. The next thing I need to do, if I briefly show you, at the moment, if I was to use my rotation tool, which we're going to use a lot for a walk cycle, at the moment it's rotating around the anchor which lives in the middle of the layer, which I don't want to happen. I want to move all these anchors to more joint-like places. So to do that, I'm going to pick up my pan behind tool in the top toolbar, which is this one, and I can simply have the layer selected, pick up that middle anchor and move it to a better place. So on the foot, probably up by the ankle, legs by the hips. Can't quite see this one, but I presume it's up there. Okay. And once I've done this, I just gotta make sure that I click back onto my select tool. Then I'm gonna shy guy some things off because I don't need to see them, because I'm just gonna mainly focus on my front body first. So my front arm, in fact, don't necessarily need my body, my leg and my foot. So the first thing I always do on a walk cycle is just to start getting basic rudimental swings in place and get the timings of those down. I'm going to shorten this workspace area because I don't need 5 seconds, take it to about 2. I'm going to drop down the front arm menu and make sure my time slide is at the beginning and set off the stopwatch to set off that first keyframe for the rotation. So I know that this front leg is going to pull back because of the way the two legs are currently positioned, which means my arm should begin about quite central actually, but it's going to swing forwards first. So then I'm going to have it swing forwards. And as to where I'm placing keyframes, I'm kind of guessing at the moment. The one keyframe I do know, to make a perfect loop cycle, it's always good to pick up that first keyframe, so Command C, and move the slider to the very end of your workspace, because you always want to loop back round to that first keyframe to get a smooth cycle. Great. So, a little tip I want to show you as well is, so yesterday we looked at copying, pasting keyframes, we looked at stretching the time out by holding Alt on keyframes. What we didn't look at was how we can interpolate keyframes differently. And what I mean by that is, you might have noticed between each keyframe is the exact same rate of speed. And if you want a movement to go towards a keyframe slower, or you want to pause within a position before before going to the next keyframe, there are some ways you can edit your keyframes to get there. So if I right click my keyframe and go to keyframe assistant, I can find 3 different eases: an easy in, an easy ease, and an easy out. So an easy in would be that time is going to, now between those keyframes, going to slow down before it gets to the next keyframe. I'd like a nice fast swing going backwards, so I'm going to use an easy out before it gets to the arm on the back. See how we've got a slight speed up there now before it gets to the back. And as it pulls back to the center, quite happy with that speed, but I'm going to end on and ease out. So there, we've got a nice smoother movement, although I don't think that's the way to end. I think we actually want to speed into that keyframe a bit more. Oops. Well, not at all, because I get a bit of a pause. There we go. So, and then if you wanted to have paused on a keyframe, so let's, for example, although this will look a bit wrong and weird, on this second from last keyframe, if I toggle hold the keyframe, it's going to pause there until it gets to the next keyframe. So just a few more tips on how you can start using your keyframes. Maybe that one, if I speed out. There we go. So the next thing I'm going to do is focus on the timing of the leg. And I'm going to start with rotation. So So we know the leg is pulling back, and when the arm's fully extended forward, the leg is most likely fully extended backwards. And when the arm is fully extended backwards, I want my leg on the opposite, fully extended forwards. And then I want to end on my keyframe 1 again. Great. Bit stiff and weird, but the timing I'm pretty happy with. So this time we're now going to start layering different transforms on top. So I'm going to start with position. And when our legs are right beneath us or coming beneath us, so actually should probably start there. When they get right beneath us, they're sort of most extended and holding all our weight. When we flick behind and start to bring back forward, actually here, we're lifting the leg off the ground. But however, I don't want to lift it too early. And then most extended at the front, that's when we're going to start dropping it down again to step down and back to position 1. And when it's fully rendered, I'll start adding any eases, ins and outs I think will look good. And then I'm going to work on the foot and get the timing of the back leg done as well. And once you've done all of that, then we'll start looking at faking some leg bends. So we're going to look at puppet warping. Brilliant, yeah. So next video for getting the leg bends in for anywhere that you didn't have any pre-planned joints. See you in a bit.